What if the most powerful tribute to a legend is the part we're never allowed to see? In an age obsessed with scanning, sharing, and scrutinizing every corner of history, Graceland's upstairs remains off-limits, hidden behind a curtain of silence. The locked doors that guard this deep mystery are like a sacred boundary between what we remember and what we imagine. By staying unseen, that space keeps alive a version of Elvis untouched by time, untouched by truth, and all the more eternal for it. Graceland isn't just a place, it's the only place which still holds traces of Elvis's presence. Tucked into Memphis, it draws people in, not with promises of answers, but with unusual questions. Decades after his death, Elvis Presley's home remains one of the most visited private residences in America, second only to the White House. But while the glitter of his jumpsuits and the flamboyance of the Jungle Room are on full display,
The famous Jungle Room with its green shag floors and Polynesian flair.
the true core of Graceland lies behind a door no tourist has ever opened. The upstairs, where no tours, no photos, no virtual walkthroughs are allowed. That part of the house, Elvis's private quarters, has been kept entirely off limits since his death in 1977. Not a single visitor, aside from a few carefully selected individuals, has ever been granted entry. Even U.S. presidents have reportedly been turned away. It's as if those rooms aren't just private, they're sacred. And in a world obsessed with peeling back every layer of celebrity lifestyle, that kind of secrecy encourages even more speculation and an urge to know the truth that lies behind those walls. Why keep it hidden? What's so delicate, so powerful, or perhaps so disruptive that it must remain locked away? Elvis lived most of his later life upstairs. It was his retreat from fame, the only space where he could take off the heavy persona of Elvis Presley. It's where he read late into the night, flipping through spiritual texts, where he lounged in bed watching television and indulged in his favorite snack, peanut butter and banana sandwiches, delivered with the push of a button. It was his sanctuary, and tragically, it became his tomb. On August 16, 1977, Elvis was found unresponsive in the bathroom, just a few steps from his bed. He was 42. The paramedics who rushed to the scene couldn't revive him. And since that day, the second floor has remained exactly as it was, untouched, preserved. But why? Many believe it's a matter of respect, that keeping the rooms private is a way for the Presley family to preserve what little intimacy Elvis had left in his final years. But if it's just about honoring his memory, why not release a photo or two? Why no carefully curated digital experience like so many museums offer now? Instead, it's radio silence, no commentary or access, and in that silence, the questions grow louder. Some believe there's more to the story. What if what lies upstairs isn't just personal, but something that could challenge the image of Elvis the world holds on to? A handful of people have reportedly seen the upstairs rooms, though. One of them is actor Nicolas Cage, who was briefly married to Elvis's daughter, Lisa Marie. According to reports, he was allowed to tour the private area, alone. When asked about it afterward, he said absolutely nothing, not even slipping a vague hint about what he'd seen. Like whatever that feeling was, he couldn't describe it with words. And then there's Chewy Thompson, a niche influencer and devoted Elvis fan who once claimed he was quietly pulled aside during a tour and taken upstairs by two men he didn't recognize. He said the air felt heavy and charged, but when asked what exactly he saw,
The air, he said, felt different, like walking into something not meant to be seen.
he's refused to say a word, publicly or privately. Why so much secrecy? What's up there that makes even those who glimpse it turn mute? Some say the rooms are preserved exactly as Elvis left them, clothes still in drawers, records by the bed, the television frozen on whatever show he last watched, as if Elvis was expected to come back from tour and plop into bed any moment from now. Some think the truth might be more shocking, because what's hidden upstairs most likely contradicts the story we've all been told about the king of rock and roll. Maybe it's not just a time capsule. There are even wilder theories. Some believe Chewy Thompson wasn't selected at random, that he might actually be related to Elvis. Rumors about illegitimate children have circulated for years. Could the second floor hold not just memories but proof, a connection to a hidden lineage? Of course, these theories border on the wild side, but the silence on Graceland's part is quite telling. Visitors over the years have reported hearing footsteps coming from the empty upstairs rooms, sounds of a ringing laughter, someone whispering nearby like they were trying to tell you secrets beyond the veil. Could the Presley family still be using those rooms privately, or is there something supernatural going on? One of the more radical ideas is that Elvis never really died, that the second floor was sealed to stage his exit from public life, that behind the locked doors is evidence of a carefully orchestrated escape plan, not a site of death, but of departure. Outlandish? Maybe. But then again, why go to such lengths to preserve a few empty rooms? There's a strange kind of reverence in not knowing. In a world where everything is documented, dissected, and digitized, Graceland's upstairs is a defiant relic of restraint. It speaks volumes about limits. Limits not merely between public and private, but between memory and myth. That silence doesn't merely guarantee Elvis's privacy, it safeguards a part of him possible only in the imagination. A part unfiltered by camera lenses, intact by commentary, unmapped by time. Maybe this is why the allure continues to grow. Not necessarily because we're looking to uncover something scandalous or paranormal beyond those doors, but because we secretly hope to believe some aspects of a human, particularly ones so mythologized as Elvis, remain exclusive to them. Perhaps in an era of overexposure, the largest testament we can pay to a legend is to keep part of their tale unsolved. And so Graceland's top floor continues to be what it has always been, sight where silence is more powerful than song, and mystery is all we are ever told. Because sometimes the most enduring legacies are those we continue to speculate about rather than fully comprehend. Time has passed and the world is different, but that staircase remains closed. As a result, every year thousands of fans peer up those stairs, imagining what lies beyond. The banister has become a symbolic barrier between what we're allowed to know and what we're not, between the icon and the individual, between myth and man. Maybe the Presley family knows that if they open the door, the legend would unravel. That once the upstairs is exposed to the world, Elvis's last unfiltered space would be lost forever. What remained of him, the real him, would dissolve in flash photography and online commentary. So they lock the door, and that decision has become part of the legend. In a way, the mystery of the upstairs is what keeps Graceland alive, not just as a tourist attraction, but as a living, breathing symbol of something deeper, something more human. A closed door, a silent stairwell, a man's last echo, frozen in time, or some other unresolved mystery that is still kept alive for a purpose? In a sense, Graceland's upper floor is a metaphor for how we relate to our idols and celebrities, our loved ones in our own lives. We consume their stories, control their narratives, make them a part of our shared consciousness, yet there are always elements we can never touch. The private moments, the areas where their humanity is beyond our observation. By closing off the upstairs to visitors, the Presley family guards not only a space but a deeper realization about Elvis. He was a man with secrets too, with boundaries, with things he kept to himself. A man and not a myth. Will we ever see what's up there? Maybe not, but maybe that's the point. Maybe the real question isn't what's behind that door. It's why we want to know so badly, and why, despite decades of obsession, the answer remains just out of reach. Because perhaps some truths are better left untouched.